This is VOA News. I'm Marissa Melton. U.S. President Donald Trump says the United States is ready to deal with any so-called Christmas gift that North Korea has threatened to deliver amid stalled nuclear negotiations between the two nations. The nuclear negotiations have been stalled since February, with North Korea seeking sanctions relief before giving up any of its nuclear capability. That's a path the United States has so far rejected. President Trump has berated Democratic lawmakers over his impeachment as a legislative standoff continues over a Senate impeachment trial.
They didn't give us due process. They didn't give us a lawyer. They didn't give us anything. Now they come to the Senate and they want everything.
Mr. Trump also took aim specifically at House Speaker Nancy Pelosi for indefinitely postponing the sending of the articles of impeachment to the Republican-controlled Senate so a trial can begin.
She hates the Republican Party. She hates all of the people that voted for me and the Republican Party.
President Trump is only the third U.S. president to be impeached in the country's 243-year history. Opposition activists say a missile struck a school building in northwestern Syria on Tuesday, killing 8 civilians. This as government forces captured a key village held by al-Qaeda insurgents in the last rebel stronghold in the war-torn country. Syrian troops also surrounded a Turkish observation post in the area. And Pope Francis has led the world's 1.3 billion Roman Catholics into Christmas, urging them not to let the Church's failings lead them away from accepting God's love. Christmas reminds us that God continues to love us all, even the worst of us, Francis said in a sermon, presiding over the 7th Christmas season of his pontificate. He held a solemn Christmas Eve Mass in St. Peter's Basilica for thousands of people. Hundreds of others watched on large screens outside. From the News Center in Washington, D.C., you're listening to VOA News. The Christian faithful are flocking to Palestinian-governed Bethlehem and the West Bank to celebrate Christmas. Robert Berger is on the scene and reports for VOA.
Christmas Eve celebrations got off to a festive start here at Manger Square in Bethlehem. Palestinian Boy and Girl Scouts marched past a giant Christmas tree in front of the ancient Church of the Nativity, the traditional birthplace of Jesus. The atmosphere was more solemn inside the church, where pilgrims visited the Grotto of the Nativity. It was a big turnout this year thanks to a lull in West Bank violence. Bethlehem's Palestinian mayor, Anton Salman.
The message of Bethlehem always was a message of peace, hope, and justice for everybody.
But Salman told VOA that he is pessimistic about the prospects for peace with Israel. Robert Berger for VOA News, Bethlehem.
A Russian court has extended the pretrial detention of former U.S. Marine Paul Whelan until March 29th as he faces espionage charges. Whelan was arrested in December 2018 after accepting a flash drive from an acquaintance, which Russian authorities allege contained classified materials. He has denied the charges. Venice was hit by another deluge on Tuesday, a month after the worst flooding in 50 years. Reuters' Emer McCarthy has more.
A soggy start to the festive season as Venice was hit by another high tide on Christmas Eve. It did little to deter tourists to the canal city, donning colourful shoe protectors as they waded through the water or attempted to stay dry on viewing platforms. Despite a tide peaking at 54 inches, market vendors continued to sell their wares and produce. According to the city's mayor, last month's floods caused around €1 billion of damage and severely impacted Venice's tourism industry.
That's Reuters' Emer McCarthy reporting. Officials in Afghanistan say Taliban insurgents have attacked an army base in a northern province, killing at least 7 Afghan soldiers and wounding 6 others. Separately, local officials say Taliban insurgents ambushed a police convoy in the northeastern Kapisa province, killing a district police commander and his security guard. Santa Claus has begun his magical Christmas Eve journey, delivering presents around the world. As in years past, the U.S. military is tracking him. General Terrence O'Shaughnessy said his team is using high-tech equipment to follow Santa around the world. He says there are many ways for people to track Santa at home. However, General O'Shaughnessy advises that children not wait up for Santa. He says the jolly old elf works best when everyone's asleep. I'm Marissa Melton. You're listening to VOA News.